Welcome to another episode of 11 Reality Podcast. I am your host, Ricky Valero. On today's episode, we are going to continue our journey with the not even a rewatch. What is it called when you're watching something for the first? Maybe it is a rewatch. I don't know. Watching Vanderpump,
our discovery of Vanderpump.
Our discovery of Vanderpump Rules Season 1. We are now moving on to episode 5, which might have the greatest title of any TV show in the history of television. But that being said, folks, we thank you guys for joining us each and every week as we are diving into the world of Vanderpump Rules for the very first time. Right now, if you are following along on the Love and Reality Podcast, I've got a lot cooking in the kitchen. We are covering Vanderpump Rules. We're talking The Traitors. Love is Blind just kicked off. Breaking that down, I have an interview with Vanessa and Nick Lachey up on the YouTube channel. I'm watching Extraction right now, which is actually really, 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 really good. I'll be breaking that down every week. You'll probably be able to just see the videos of that on the YouTube channel. Sometimes it's trying to figure out what's going to be on the podcast, what's going to be on the what's going to be just on the YouTube channel, what's going to be just on TikTok. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of TV shows, a lot of reality TV shows, but I'm joined by my fellow Vanderpump Rules discovery mate, Mr. Matthew Fox. How are you, man?
You know, I'm glad this one had the best title, which it did. You know, I was very excited about it based on the title because the rest of the episode did not necessarily live up to my hopes.
There is very few moments. This might be the shortest recap of all the episodes because it felt like everything built to the culmination of the final part of the episode. You know what I mean? When we get to the Lisa confrontation. But before we dive in, all right. Vanderpump Rules, Season 1, Episode 5, I'm Not a Ghetto Bitch. I'm going to add something, a new little wrinkle to my thing. The rating on IMDb for this episode was 7.7. This was the synopsis of this episode.
That feels high, doesn't it?
It really does. I was looking at it. It's of the episodes we watched so far, it is the highest, second highest behind only Vegas with a Vengeance. So, of only what we watched so far.
Which I guess because I get from the being excited because I was excited after we saw Vegas with a Vengeance. I almost started this one right away. I'm glad I waited because it was more fizzle than sizzle.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, this week's episode synopsis. Stassi comes back from Vegas to find out that Jax has started dating one of her friends, and Katie and Kristen have turned against her. When Lisa calls a staff meeting to put a stop to the infighting, Laura Lee explodes on Stassi for sending her bully text. Sheena nervously prepares for her first live performance at the world-famous Roxy. The episode can literally be broken down based off of everything that is said in this synopsis, right? And that's kind of what we're going at each and every week here. One of my favorite things about this is I love that Lisa was throwing a tea party at her house and had the bartenders from SUR working this party. I thought it was hilarious.
Which it looked like it might have been. This is where you and I don't watch The Real Housewives, but we know Vanderpump, I think, was supposed to have been a spinoff of her Real Housewives. And this looked like this was maybe a crossover in some ways. It looked like she was doing a tea party for that. But that's, we're more than a decade removed from the show kicking off, and it ties back to shows we never watched. So to me, I thought I could tell that was meant to be something kind of meaningful, but someone else.
Yeah, exactly. To somebody else, at that time, it was probably meaningful to a lot of people. But obviously, she talked to Jax, said she was disappointed in Jax. My favorite part of this entire thing is like she's grilling Jax because she wants to know, but says she doesn't want to know, but does want to know, but doesn't want to know anything that's going on. But then she also wants to know. So I did love that he said my girlfriend, and she said not your girlfriend, Frank's girlfriend, which was actually mean, but also hilarious. Also, so then we'll skip past this a little bit here. Stassi was hanging out with her mom, who looks like her twin, which, I mean, credit to her. But, like, they are one and the same.
The apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Her mom does call her. I'll give her mom credit, though. Her mom did call her out for Frank staying at the hotel. She understood how kind of fucked up that was. Because I'm not assuming, Jax was originally supposed to be with her on this trip, their birthday type thing. So having another of course, that was going to cause problems. Of course, we got the big announcement. We'll talk about Sheena, opening up for her friend Tina. Tina plays a factor in this show later and later and later and later. I know that. But she wants to put a good show on because it's her first time performing. So Laura Lee, look, before we talk about anything about Laura Lee, I just want to know Matthew Fox's opinion when Laura Lee hits the screen and she starts talking.
I was not impressed. The other thing that you sort of glossed over that Lisa called Jax out for is that, she's like 48 hours ago you were flying to Las Vegas to fight for someone, and now you're already basically dipping in with somebody else.
He's a desperate man, Matt. He's a desperate man.
I mean,
but this is my thing. I think Jax was just trying to hook up with this girl, and this girl thinks that they're in the full-blown relationship, and he's just going with it because she seems, I don't know her, just going based off what I've seen, she seems a little crazy. Not to say he's
stage 4 clinger.
Yeah, she does seem like one of those people, guy or girl. I'm going to say, let me prefix by saying guy or girl that sleeps with somebody, and then it's just like we're in a relationship now.
Yeah, or I mean, supposedly she asked for permission, or gave a heads up, and it's been interesting to see how the friend group is split up. They're just, I was disappointed. We were on quite a run of incredible quotable lines from either Lisa or Tom, and we just didn't get anything in this one, and the other people aren't really quotable. I mean, what would you feel excited about that? I'm honestly now trying to figure out how this banged out a 7.7 rating, because
I mean,
it was so, even that the Ghetto Bitch title basically comes from that staff meeting where
that was probably the only...
Lisa says something like that's some ghetto bitch behavior, and like, how would you know? And now in context of where that comes out, that feels a little culturally inappropriate.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it very much so. Like, so obviously, I think it's funny how it was broken down. She was babysitting his dog. They went to dinner, a movie, and breakfast. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. You know what I mean? Like, it just... My thing is this. Did Jack do anything wrong? No. Period. End of story. He didn't do anything. Because if we're not going to criticize Stassi for what she did with Frank less than 24 hours after they broke up. How good of a
friend could Laura Lee have been to Stassi if she didn't even get the B team invite to Las Vegas?
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
She's like, we're close friends. Flag on the play.
Yeah. Exactly. So, but apparently Laura Lee calls Stassi to tell her that her and Jax are dating now, which was hilarious. And now Stassi doesn't want to work, who never wants to work but needs money. And Peter's like, no, you're going to work. We have like 50 reservations, and tells her that she's doing the same thing that Frank and her did. But she seems to think otherwise. I did love Peter actually stood here and was a manager. Like, it was weird to see somebody say no to, to somebody on the staff for not being.
It's always jarring to see anyone working on this show because ostensibly it's about a restaurant, but
yeah. Also, we saw, so if Kristen or Tom got in trouble for Kristen coming over to Tom and bitching about his whole supermodel thing, how is Jax and Laura allowed to kiss at the bar? I'm confused of what's allowed to happen at work.
I don't think they are supposed to.
I know. I'm just. I guess we had a party at Kristen and Tom's house, which this is the moment I've been waiting for, right? Again, we're watching this from the beginning. We know Tom Sandoval's kind of, a bad guy. Although I will say this. If you're going to watch the episode where we break this down actually in the same episode here, you're going to listen to us talk about Tom in The Traitors. I'm just going to throw this out here. Tom, on this recent episode of The Traitors, is the MVP of The Traitors. He's carrying that show, and I'm sorry to say that out loud, but this is the moment that Matthew Fox and I think we're waiting, because we had to wait almost the entire episode to even see Tom. And then when Tom arrives, we really don't get any Tom. Like
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was not worthwhile.
know. And like Jackson, Laura Lee were like making out randomly in the living room. Katie says she doesn't think it's going to work. We don't think it's going to work. You know what I mean? But apparently Stassi sent some nasty ass text messages and they were pretty fucked up. Like some nasty text messages to Laura Lee. I will say this. I think Stassi sucks. And I stand on that hill. Not to say that there's a whole lot of people that are great on this cast, but she's my number one. She sucks. Period. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We got to the team meeting. I was expecting more from it. I think I liked the way it started. I thought Lisa leaned heavy to begin with, and then she took the foot off the gas, right?
Well, and then it kind of just devolves into them like yelling at each other, I guess. It wasn't interesting in the, Lisa's seemingly most upset because she thinks they were reflecting badly on her restaurant when they were in Las Vegas, but we don't really explore that. And then we need to get everything out, but they don't do. I mean, I've been to some tense team meetings where stuff needed to get worked out. Nothing got worked out here.
No, because
Nothing.
Again, I'm confused. Why we're still talking about the pregnant thing, but it's never been hashed out to the point where Jax has said this happened 3 years ago.
Yeah, he never. Yeah, which seemingly some people understand, but
Stassi doesn't. You know what I mean? Like it was very weird. The whole dynamic was weird because all this ended up turning into was. I love how like Stassi was like, I didn't pull your hair, and I'm like, we literally saw like the fisticuffs happening. Yeah. This all really turned out to be the whole battle between Laura Lee and Stassi, who went the fuck off, right? Yeah. I didn't realize Laura Lee was going to end up being, a badass in this moment. And I do credit her for standing on business and calling her out for the text messages, because she basically did what everybody else should be doing to Stassi. Because again, if we're trying to iron out everything that happened in Vegas, what happened between Laura Lee and Stassi had nothing to do with Vegas. So it's weird. And I agree with you. But she was like, you know what? I'm going to stand up and I'm going to fucking stand on business. But I do love in this moment that Laura Lee went off and then Lisa asked if she was done. And then she said, nope. And then continued to go off. Man, she was looking for that 5 minutes, man.
She wasn't done.
No, far from. I don't even think she was done even whenever she's probably still talking 10 years later. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like she still is. The night ends with Stassi showing up to Sheena's performance and hoping that she shits the bed, which it only shows you Stassi's character, which only ends up with her crying in Stassi's arms, which I thought was very karmatic. I thought the performance was fun. I liked it. The song, I don't know really how I feel about the song, but for her performing for the first time, I thought it was good. I enjoyed it.
It was all right. And then the weird friendship between them.
Yeah, I will say this. Sheena, much bigger person in that moment. And I feel like she's been the bigger person through a lot of this, which again, to me, Sheena's one of the people that I actually genuinely think I like right now. And I think she's the only one that, well, outside of Tom, but I think Sheena's the only good. How about this? Sheena's the only good person that we've interacted with through 5 episodes, right?
That's probably fair.
Yeah.
Or interesting character anyway.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right. So
someone you might be able to root for.
Yeah, exactly. I'm rooting for Sheena. When she was on the stage, when she was nervous, she was getting ready to go on the stage, she was freaking out. I was like, go out there and kill it. You know what I mean? I was rooting her on, telling her to go out there and kill it. But all right, folks, we talked about each and every week what we're going to do here. Matthew Fox, I'm going to ask you right now, who was your MVP of this week's episode?
I mean, this feels like trying to pick the MVP of that Patriots 10-3 Super Bowl over the Rams, where there was a lot of people, but nobody nobody stood out. I guess I'll go with Peter again, just because not taking any crap, trying to get the restaurant back on track. But I mean, we don't get enough Tom to get a feel for him. I'm steering clear of the quadrangle of Frank and Stassi and Jax and Laura Lee, and Lisa was just all over the board.
Yeah, for me, I almost went Laura Lee only based on the speech. However, I didn't. I don't really like Laura Lee, so I went with my MVP. I went with Sheena. I feel like I just went her because of the performance, and I think because she ends up being the bigger person here with Stassi, even though she could have really, I feel like drove her home in being a bad person, but she stood up, was a better person. So I went Sheena for that reason. I almost went Peter, but I had a feeling that you were going to go Peter because Matthew Fox loves to see these people actually do their jobs. You know what I mean? So,
well, also, I thought that was a good, where she tried to pull some stuff and he's like, no, this is not what you're here for. Get over yourself.
I loved it. I thought it was a great moment as well. So, I mean, I agree with you 100%. I had a feeling that you were going to go there.
Wasn't he the other bartender at the at that tea party too?
Yeah. So for sure.
He's putting
all right,
in the work.
Folks. That is it for episode 5 recap of Vanderpump Rules. A look ahead real quick. Episode 6 is titled Caught with Your Trousers Down.
God. Which we already you may not have watched the preview already.
I don't have to watch the preview. I just read the synopsis. When Jax and Laura Lee are caught having sex in SUR's bathroom, Frank insults a customer. Lisa's forked to crack the whip on her staff. Stassi thinks her life is back on track when she makes up with her old friend Katie and introduces her new boyfriend Frank to her parents. But when unexpected argument escalates, Stassi finds herself headed for a second breakup of the summer.
2012 was not her year.
It was a tough year for her. Tough year for her.
Well, she was expecting the Mayan calendar to be correct. She thought the world was going to end, so she just wanted to have somebody to cozy up to. And then the world didn't end, but her world ended. Her social life ended.
Oh man, episode 7. Jax makes a bold move to win Stassi back, causing Laura Lee to attack Jax. Oh man, that's gonna sky. Oh man, I shouldn't have looked ahead that far because that sounds oh man, I am so excited for episode 7 now. Who cares about the trousers down? But yeah, so yeah, I don't know. I can't wait. This is fantastic. I'm so excited. This is the greatest decision we've ever made in our lives. On that note, folks, thank you guys so much for listening to another episode. As I said, make sure to check out the other shows right here on the Drive-In Podcast Network as well, as long as with the Love and Reality show. Love and Run Podcast. We'll talk to you guys next week.